Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
Yes, my name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. And Fat Man Zoom, you take it away. I forgot to grab my computer charger. My battery's about to die.
What's up, people?
Right back.
I got something to say. But first, I'm going to say starting five. Steve King, Mason, Jeff Panika, Jeff Chow, Sam Cisneros, starting five. We're going to talk about Clover today. We're going to talk about Airbnb today. We might talk a little Elon maybe. Who knows? What's the second topic we were talking about? Some others? Airbnb. So stay tuned for all that good stuff, guys. We'll probably touch on the earnings for tomorrow. Want to say what's up? Welcome to the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe for good content and crazy call outs like Clover. Whew.
Crisis averted.
I want to say for the record, I bought more Ethereum today, everybody. Just want to let everybody know. A lot of people are in Clover, and I'm getting a lot of heat.
B. Smith included now.
Brad Smith also bought Clover. But for all of you people who are upset, I don't know, who are upset about Clover, well, let me just catch everybody up to speed. Clover is one of my highest conviction stocks, if not my highest conviction stocks. They had earnings this morning. They beat earnings estimates. They beat revenue. But they had a higher loss than anticipated, Brad.
Yes.
I don't want to really get into that yet, but what I do want to say is we'll get into the details of Clover. We'll answer any questions you guys have because I know you guys are in it and you probably want to know what I'm doing about it. But for those of you people who have been hating on me or criticizing me, my call out, I want to read to you a quote, and many of you will know this quote. It's a bit lengthy. It's Teddy Roosevelt. A man in the arena, okay?
Okay.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. But there is no effort without error and shortcoming, Brad. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in the worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Now, I say this kind of in jest, but I do mean this. I love this quote. It's one of my favorites. But basically, it says it's easy to criticize when you're not in the game, right?
Correct.
We all fail and
Armchair quarterbacks.
we all succeed, and it's easy to be critical of my call out. And I'm not even saying I failed yet because I haven't sold.
Correct.
But Clover did drop. It was up huge pre-market, almost 13% pre-market. Earnings come out. It drops slightly red. Market opens, it goes green, up 4% or something like that, and then it just drops nearly 13%. And so these are how these things go. We know earnings go like that,
yes.
And it shouldn't surprise you. In the watch list today, it was on watch. It wasn't on buy. It was watch volatility. I said this could have tremendous volatility. Yesterday on Stock Watch Sunday, I said I still had conviction in it, but I had trimmed out of it before. Like, number one, you shouldn't do what I'm doing just because of that. Like, you should consider the things we say, but you need to do your due diligence and you need to live with your decisions. And so for those of you who are all up in arms, consider managing risk. And for those of you saying, you know, I did a short and joked about I brought it to the channel, $14 a share. That was before the Hindenburg news came out.
Yeah.
Nobody can predict that.
No.
And
You can't. Yeah. You
and
really
so
can't.
I'm not trying to make excuses here. My only point is nobody bats 1,000. And would I want it to be up? Great. But I'm not gonna regret my due diligence. So
You are a
anyways,
highly successful investor if you are right 50% of the time.
yeah.
The only thing that makes you even more successful is risk management, and that's what it all comes down to, is managing risk. And I mean, I'm right plenty of times. I'm also wrong plenty of times, but no, I would venture to say that we get it right more times than we get it wrong, though. And so, like this is obviously a I don't want to say a big whiff, but in the short term, it's a little bit of a miss. But
Can you remind me of what account it's in? I can't remember.
the long term account,
Which is at what time frame?
a year or better.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The year. I'm looking within the year.
Within a year, yeah. So I think, you know, with Clover, the everything that we talked about last night still rings true. The fact that it has a $3 billion market cap and it's bringing in nearly $1 billion a year, like
2.7 billion market cap now.
people bought Nikola and they didn't make any money. They're still not making any money in this.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to compare apples to apples here. I'm just saying, you know, people have bought more on less, and they're
Yeah.
still poo-pooing on Clover. So that's what that was just the point that I was trying to make.
Yeah.
And the with it being down here, it makes 0 sense. So that's why I decided to take a starting position on Clove myself this afternoon at 664. So I'm in it with you, man.
And I point out this quote and like seriously consider this is not for me. I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay. I don't care what people are saying. I fully expect if it goes down, I'm going to get heat about it.
Yeah.
But this is for you guys to understand, like, when there are always going to be people critical of your calls, it's easy to be that armchair quarterback you talked about.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to tell you about their wins. They're not talking about their losses. I see in the comments all the time, you guys talk about your wins. You don't talk a lot about your losses. Like, our chaos crew will say, hey, I'm down on this. How should I strategize?
Yeah.
But, like, is more often people hyping themselves up, giving themselves a pat on the back. Everybody's a critic. And so, again, we've talked about the challenge in that. Don't sweat like people being critical. If you do your due diligence, you have to trust it. And sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Right.
And if it crushes you, I'm going to be fine tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to live to fight another day.
It's not like your whole account at it.
Yeah. I like, that's the game. If I've managed my risk,
Right.
and if it runs, great. If not, you know, if you're upset because I called it out at $14, what the hell are you doing with an average cost of $14? You didn't scale in.
Yeah.
My average cost is $9.50 in my public account. So, like, that's on you, bruh. And so, anyways, if you guys have questions about Clover, we'll answer specific questions regarding Clover.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do also want to point out, which is classically ironic with what I see in the chat, is a lot of people, it's cool to see some people still have conviction and buying more and adding on or establishing positions. But what I also am seeing is a little bit of, I'm putting an account, I'm good for 3 to 5 years. And this is, I'm noticing more and more of this. We notice this with Tesla, good and bad. We start getting extreme, like we talked about, Tesla can never go down. Right? And then people get overconfident. And this is kind of the opposite of what happening is people are almost convincing themselves, I'm going to wait 3 to 5 years. You're not going to have to wait 3 to 5 years.
No.
Like, that's extreme. You will be fine if you're willing to wait that long.
Absolutely.
And I know in the short term, it feels like, God, like this was always going to go down, and it may well continue to go down. But the horizon isn't a 3 to 5 year horizon.
No.
It may be longer than a year, but I don't think much longer than the end of 2020. And also, the last thing I want to point out to you guys about the losses and profitability, there are many companies that are not profitable that still have valuations that are worthwhile and that stocks still go up. So there needs to be a path to profitability. I wouldn't get necessarily so hung up on that as well. But I did tweet that I had some concerns about it this morning before it dropped. When it was still at red up 4%, I said, there are some red flags that I'm a little bit curious about, concerned about.
You tweeted that out right after earnings came out. And I think that we look at this now, and we've looked at this previously, and I was really surprised to see it actually get below the $7 because it had held it held up so well over that $7 mark, literally all quarter, and then today ended up dropping below that. So it did break below a crucial support. In my opinion. Now, I want to say this too. I think that 631 candle wick down here obviously now comes into play. But went to the 5-minute chart and actually looked to see, what would be a good entry for me personally. And I saw this kind of seem like it bottomed out around 660. So then I ended up getting a position at 664. And I agree with you. I think that this turnaround is probably going to be a much shorter than people realize. If your time horizon is 3 to 5 years, nothing wrong with that. Not mad at you for it. But I will also say that I think that given the way that healthcare has been shaping up here lately, and we've talked about this, I mean, you want a cheap healthcare stock? I mean, this is about as cheap as you're going to get. Yeah.
So as far as Clover is concerned, I have not dug fully into the earnings. I looked at the numbers. There are a couple of concerns as far as their net loss, but there are also a lot of one-time costs that you brought up on the balance sheet, which is actually pretty cool.
Right.
I was disappointed in their overall net loss, even though their revenue growth was good. But even the big thing, and we've talked about this, guys, the guidance was adjusted, and that's not good.
Right.
Revenue guidance was lowered slightly to the lower end of the range, and EBITDA moved down to a greater loss than expected. That's really what I think hurt it. But it's still undervalued, $2.7 billion. It's still undervalued to me. There's some PR issues that are still dogging the stock.
Yeah,
but
Hindenburg came out again on it today.
Yeah, and so they clearly got their crosshairs set on Chamath. And
yeah.
So,
100%. He's got a huge target on his back right now.
While I'm not buying, I'm not selling. I'm in a holding pattern right now. I was already full position. It's not enough for me to want to get out of it.
Yep.
And that's not me making a recommendation. That's just telling you guys what I'm going to do. And so it should be interesting. Keep an eye on it. Guys, anything Clover, come to this channel because we're going to be the ones mainly talking about it.
Nobody's really
like
talking
and subscribe, hit the notification so you guys can check out the stuff we got on Clover. But
absolutely. We got 150 of you guys hanging out here right out the gate, so certainly appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your afternoon. Make sure you're hitting that like button, too, if you guys are enjoying the stream so far. The marquee topic for the day is AMC. Now, AMC is up 7.5% today after being up 25% on Friday, and it is going off right now. They had pretty decent earnings. And so, as the title says, Fat Man Zoom, is it time to take something like AMC, which was once considered a meme stock, seriously?
The short answer is yes. For the short term.
Yes.
For the long term, I don't think so.
I think that. So, just let me just preface by saying this. The company announced on Thursday that it successfully completed a sale of 43 million shares to basically raise money that they had to pay back over the pandemic. And so that was one big positive catalyst for them. They went up to...
Which is a smart move.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like the dilution they had was toxic, that they're just using it to pay all their executives and just screw everybody else. They're at least putting it back into the company. Here's my thing, though. Let's take a look at the stock. First of all, it is at a crucial resistance right now, Fat Man Zoom, at around $14 a share. If it breaks up over that, I think it does have some more room to run. Yeah. My big concern is that the pent-up demand, if there is any, is probably going to be in short order. Because if we look at the way that movie theaters were trending before the pandemic, they were kind of going the way of the dodo bird as well. Yep. Like they weren't a screaming business. The growth in movie theaters wasn't like, unless they took this time to like really focus on the experience and make the experience better to actually draw crowds in. I just don't know how this is going to be more or less of a sustainable move.
Yeah, I'll be honest. You have been really bearish on movie theaters and talking about them moving away. I never shared that sentiment. At some point, sure, they may evolve. They may move away. I don't really know. I have no interest in picking up AMC. If somebody wanted to get AMC or wanted to, back when you were talking about it, I thought it was a fair play for reopening. Yeah. I thought it was safe. And I don't want to say safe. That's not a good word.
But that was at like $6 is when I was talking about it.
But I thought it was fair. And I even still think that, because even where it's at now, listen, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be volatile.
Yeah.
But only because of their short-term moves could benefit it short-term. And all they have to do is report that we got numbers coming in to the movie theater. And I do think there's that pent-up demand, but it will eventually likely slow down.
Yeah.
I don't view it as like a drive-through theater. I don't view it the same way as like the way drive-throughs went away. I see movie theaters evolving, and the question is, how will AMC evolve? If it doesn't, it will be in trouble. However, I think there are opportunities for it. I just can't say long-term that I would feel confident in for me personally, getting into a position.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people on Reddit, and this has kind of obviously been a Reddit favorite. It's created a huge tweet storm. I think, in my opinion on this, we look at the average spread on analysts comes in at $16 a share. To me, in my opinion, that's probably fair value for AMC.
Okay.
It's $16 a share. You have a lot of Redditors out there, and I've seen it all over the place on Twitter, calling for $100, and they think that this is going to be a repeat of GameStop, GME. This isn't the same situation, folks. I just don't see how this is going to happen. First of all, we've already seen the amount of liquidity that's gone away in the market.
Yeah.
Just by looking at our own channel and seeing in the industry itself, just kind of coming off. So lack of interest is obviously comes into factor here. Yeah. So I don't think you guys are going to get the same kind of move. Is there still some upside here? I think so. And that $16 mark seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. I think with AMC, you just got to understand what you're getting into. You got to have a solid plan with it, and then be willing to. I mean, it depends on how confident you are in it, but like these are established companies that have been around forever.
It's up 40% in a week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're going to have profit taking. You're going to have some sell off. This is going to be the run of it. But yeah, there are better things out there than AMC. I think that's the bottom line.
Yep.
Well, considering stocks that have been going down that we have high conviction on, Airbnb hit more lows.
Yeah.
Is it at all-time lows?
Not all-time lows. No, not yet. Let's not put that nail in the coffin yet.
But it had some after Friday kind of having a bounce back. It started moving its way down again.
Yeah, so it hit a low of around 131 this afternoon, and it's starting to try to bounce back a little bit. If we look at the daily chart, I mentioned this last week. Like if we broke that crucial support at around 136, 137, and it's tumbled down since then. I mean, Friday it had a relatively decent bounce back day. CEO came on and basically said that, there's not much to worry about. The general interest in travel, especially on the domestic side of things, is absolutely incredible. I would venture to say that there's also some pretty decent news coming out of the EU as well as Southeast Asia when it comes to COVID cases. So that also bodes well for the travel industry as a whole. Airbnb has international spots as well, so that bodes well for them. The Biden administration just came out and said that they were shipping out 20 million doses to the EU. So I think that this is definitely going to be something that I would say, I don't like to speak in absolutes, but it sure feels like we're getting pretty damn near close to the bottom on Airbnb.
Yeah, it's befuddling. And
well, part of this has to do with the lockup period.
Yep.
The employees have the ability to sell Airbnb this week. And so I think their average price is around $68. I'd have to double check that, but it's somewhere around there. And so then you have those folks that are looking at this and saying, well, my original, the original shares that was given to me are now worth double what they were. So you're probably going to see some selling there, but I would venture to say that you're not going to see a ton, especially if you look at most employee stock programs. All they want to do is keep buying stock up of their own company. So, and I worked for companies that had stock buybacks, and, I definitely would sell every now and then, but it was never like I didn't want to just buy right back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure, though. I don't know. I think your situation was different because you guys had financial expertise.
Well, no, because it was also the people that we worked for, like our clients and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I worked for T. Rowe Price, full disclosure. But like Costco employees, all they want to do is just keep buying more Costco stock.
Yeah, that's fair. certain people that are investing, and this is just this. There's no research backed by this. This is just people I experience that participate in their stock sharing program or stock purchasing program is that they don't understand the market. So if they got it at 68 and it's at 130 and they see this drop down, they freak out.
Right.
And so, especially Airbnb, where you're not really don't hosts also get access to this, or is that not correct?
Say that again.
Didn't hosts?
Yes, they have access to this as well. Yes.
So I just wonder how much that might play into it, but it's more. I think it's more of a product of poor timing that the market just has really taken a shit.
Yeah.
And the lockout period happened at the same time. So I think it's just, if we were bullish and everything was moving up, I don't think the drop would be as drastic.
Yeah.
And in fairness, we talked about the lockup period, and we actually didn't. We were in it, and we didn't think it was going to be as big of a deal. This move down, it's only a matter of time before it moves up, but it's in a chart does not look very good right now.
It doesn't look pretty. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. It does not look pretty, but I'm still a shareholder currently. Yeah. My average is 178, I think, is my average on this. So it hasn't been kind to me, but I still don't know if my conviction has changed on this at all, especially as we're heading into the summer months. I just booked an Airbnb to Kansas City, and it was even hard to find an Airbnb just to freaking Kansas City, and there's nothing to do in Kansas City. So
you know what's interesting as we're talking is people. Somebody asked about the bag holding. At what point do you consider high conviction bag holding?
Yeah,
which is a fair question.
It sure is.
But what's funny is 6 months ago, I'll say still now, depending on what you're talking about, it's diamond hands, but then in another breath, it's bag holding.
I know, right? If it's a meme stock, you just hold forever.
Hands.
Right. But
I have diamond hands with Clover. I don't know what the answer is. As far as, the answer is, when does it change from high conviction to bag holding? For me, in long-term account, is when something material has changed with the company.
For me, it starts from the day you buy it. Either your convictions to be the same on the day you buy it, and I mean, obviously you can get more tidbits and information along the way.
Yeah.
But I bought Airbnb with the intent of what was to come for the summertime, and I've been buying Penn with the intent of knowing, and we talked about this, and we have it on camera, about buying Penn because we saw the potential for it throughout the entire year.
Yeah.
So these are my two high conviction stocks. I have Spirit Air Systems for the same reason. So those are my three biggest holdings that take up probably around 30% of the account right now. And so I have no desire to sell those because the story has yet to have been written on these. And so that is why I choose to hold those. And I had that thought process going into it, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, but I also want to make it clear. So you're saying consider your time horizon. Your time horizon hasn't played out.
Right.
But there are times where things fundamentally change. I mean, not fundamentally as fundamental numbers. You got out of Tesla because you felt like catalyst didn't come through and there was nothing on the horizon. So that's where you change. You didn't bag hold. And so something changed along the way, which was there were no more catalysts, and you said, okay, I'm going to cut bait on that. Whereas your time horizon hasn't been complete for Penn, which has 2 states that they're about to launch in. They have the NBA playoffs beginning. There's a lot of things that are still on the horizon. So fundamentally, something might change, let's say after basketball playoffs.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
by the way, did you see that Dave Portnoy bought $40,000 worth of Safe Moon?
No. Well, I see Ralph said that.
Yeah, he put it on Twitter. They bought a shit coin, and now he's trying to see if he can actually influence in the way Elon Musk influenced Bitcoin.
I saw he said something about buying shitcoin. I didn't know it was safe.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It's hilarious.
People, if people actually take him seriously, then it's on them. They follow him into this. That's on them.
And that dude just gambles.
Yeah, that's his shtick. That's his claim to fame. All he does is gamble. So what do you think he's going to do in the stock market? The same exact thing. So,
Yeah, so as far as Airbnb is concerned, another high conviction that hasn't been performing well, but really our conviction has not changed on this. And I brought this up a bunch of times about demand.
Yeah.
I stayed in an Airbnb in Puerto Rico in February, and 2 people asked me to send them the Airbnb because they liked it. So it was, Freddie and my sister. And I looked at it through like this Airbnb, which wasn't anything special. There were only 4 days available between now and like May of 2022.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it was October. It was like 4 days in October back to back.
Wow, that's nuts.
And I'm just like, I can't part ways yet from it until international's back open fully. I'm waiting to see the demand roll in and for people to realize that. Maybe it never does, but it just seems like it's going to.
The CEO made it clear that there was a path to profitability this year.
That's wild. That's really crazy.
And, obviously they missed their latest earnings and they came in, but I think that that was still just like them getting over the pandemic, recovering from the pandemic. Yeah. We see positive earnings from them next quarter. That's going to be wild. Yeah. It's going to be wild.
For sure. That's great.
So,
as we come down to the bell, we don't have any earnings that are really material after, do we?
No, tomorrow we got some interesting ones, though, that I'm sure we'll give some reactions on in the afternoon. Yeah. But Walmart and Home Depot, some pretty big retail earnings calls tomorrow morning before market open. You had Walmart Stock Watch Sunday last night.
Yeah.
And I think that Home Depot does continue to crush it.
I agree.
The home builder side of things is going to just continue to roll. I think it's just going to be business as usual with Home Depot.
Yeah, I know we're going to start doing like the one stock, like Fat Man Zoom watch list stock that'll be on my watch list the next day.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start that tomorrow. But if you would ask me today what it would be Home Depot. That's definitely on my watch list for tomorrow to keep an eye on to see the response, because I agree with you. I think it's going to continue to crush it and dominate through the rest of the year.
I know that you don't frequent Home Depots or Lowe's.
I do.
Do you? Okay.
I mean, I go there when I need stuff. I got to pick up plants from Home Depot actually soon.
Yes.
I go there fairly frequently.
If you need some plants, you hit me up. I got you on that.
Oh, the nursery.
Yeah, the nursery.
I 100% need plants.
Yeah.
We need plants.
I know, yeah. This one's dead, by the way, over here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Poor guy.
Must have invested in CLOV.
Home Depot has come down. I think this is actually a really good opportunity. If you guys are feeling like, you want to roll the dice, I think that this is definitely the stock that you may want to consider doing that. And again, I want to stress rolling the dice because we just don't know what happens after earnings. But if I was a betting man, I would say that Home Depot would probably be a good buy before earnings tomorrow.
Yep. I'm excited for that.
We'll see another Sonos reaction.
Or Lowe's.
Yeah, Lowe's I think is later. Is it this week? Later this week?
Like if you're a little worried about playing earnings, like I think Lowe's will still get a good reaction. I think it's just which one do you like better?
Yeah.
It's that game. We like Home Depot better.
Yeah, because it's more focused on home building.
Yeah. It was cheaper for Savvy Money Show to go to Italy than to book an Airbnb in Margate.
That's crazy. And he's in England. He lives in England.
Damn.
That's wild.
That is crazy. Well, I told you my Tulum trip was like cheaper to go to Tulum than it was for me to go to anywhere else in the U.S.
I know.
Pretty much.
That's wild.
Like North Carolina was more expensive.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
To stay in Kansas City, it was like $600 for 2 nights.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
So we'll see, guys. It'll be interesting. What else you got?
So I had something, and now I forget. Oh, the materials plays, by the way, today.
Yeah.
Going absolutely nuts as well. And this kind of goes back to playing to the narrative that we've kind of been talking about as far as, if you're worried about inflation and you're worried about, some of the tech plays, and we talked about how, and we stressed about how tech was going to take a little bit of a back seat to a lot of the reopening plays. With the mask mandates going down, the state of Maryland basically came out and said you don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to, if you are vaccinated. And obviously cities and counties and that sort of thing are just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But it is encouraging to see that the mask mandates are really kind of coming down across the country. So the issues that are at hand right now are the inflation talks still. You know, people are still trying to figure out if it's transitory or not. I'm still in the transitory camp for now. But the materials plays are still going absolutely nuts. Cleveland Cliffs closed up pretty good today. $20.89. Had a fantastic day. It was up 7%. What was the other one? EAF hit all-time highs today, all the way up to $14.17. So it went ballistic as well. So these are going to continue to be the plays that you want to be in. Energy also did really well. Marathon Oil came back after having a rough week, as well as OIH, the ETF that I talked about last week. Still just killing it. So I feel really good about these plays. I haven't really made a whole lot of trading decisions other than buying Clover on the dip, but these are going to be ones that I still think are going to continue to roll. Yeah,
and the last thing I want to bring up that I touched on at the very beginning, glossed over, Ethereum. We talked on Stockwatch Sunday about Elon Musk's comments on Twitter.
Yes.
Subsequently, Bitcoin and Ethereum, which tend to move generally in the same direction, end up just like, I don't want to say tanking, but they took a big hit.
Yeah. I mean, it tanked. I mean, Bitcoin was at like 40.
Ethereum, as I last checked, was around 3,300. And so I already told you guys I was really bullish on, my conviction was increasing for Ethereum.
Yeah.
And so I'm increasing my exposure to Ethereum. So I added to Ethereum at 3,300 today. But also where I was treating it as a hedge, about 10%, I'm going to up that. So I'm going to up that to around 15% now, but it may grow even more. My conviction with Ethereum is getting higher and higher. I think this may be a good opportunity to get some Bitcoin, but I am in on Ethereum. I'm sticking with it. I'm not moving away from it until somebody gives me a really good reason to get it. But I just think the picture is becoming clearer and clearer, the opportunity of Ethereum as opposed to Bitcoin. And in my mind, it's not even close.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is obviously reacting to the rest of the cryptocurrency, that it's pretty wild to me. I mean, I guess I get it because Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. And
is he still now, or did...
he's top 3.
Okay. I feel like since the stock went down,
since the stock went down, probably not.
Jockeyed some.
Yeah, he probably got knocked down a couple of pegs. But literally, so at 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, he comes out and responds to another rando cryptocurrency Twitter account, not posting himself, not making a Twitter post himself, not coming out and making any kind of public comments about what he's been saying, but just comments on somebody else's post yet again. And it says, to clarify speculation, Tesla has not sold any Bitcoin. And so he makes that post 12 hours after the fact that he responds to somebody else, very vaguely says, indeed, when it comes to Tesla selling Bitcoin. And so I don't understand what he's trying to do at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. But
I mean, it obviously has had a huge impact on cryptocurrency as a whole. Tesla also took a pretty big hit as well, and was down at one point, I think somewhere around 3%, but it has started to claw its way back. And so I mentioned this on Stockwatch Sunday that I felt like Tesla investors could have a little bit of a roller coaster day, and that's showing up to be the case at this point. But things kind of seem to be bouncing back. This is the one thing that I just hate about crypto, is that it's so fickle, and that one man who doesn't really have that kind of control physically on these, but on the emotional level, he really does.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I hope he doesn't stop. I hope nobody tries to stop him. I don't care what you do or how you say it.
Yeah.
I just am glad there's CEOs that are willing to have the dialogue, and it's not some curated response that's on CNBC.
I get that part.
If you're so hung up on what he's saying one day to the next, you're not in the right game.
Yeah.
You really aren't. 'Cause like, I'd be happy when he talks to like have better opportunities. Now, if I'm holding Tesla, yeah, you don't love that, but it's just he's done this. This is his MO. You got to take the bad with the good.
I was just about to say that. If you're a Tesla holder, this is just business as usual for you. I mean, you should be used to this at this point. Did you actually think that it was going to get any better if you've been a Tesla holder for years or what have you? Like, this is just his MO. I mean, you know, all the way down to him talking about taking the company private and then just kind of like speaking his mind on social media. You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that Tesla has gotten the notoriety it has is because of some of the bad publicity.
Yep.
So then you just have to deal with the roller coaster of emotions that Elon puts out there on social media. You know, you just kind of have to deal with the good and the bad.
Yeah, and we're getting real granular. Like, I don't have a problem with him saying, just to clarify, I'm not selling any
I'm not saying that
Bitcoin.
there's a problem with that. It's just like, it's clear that cryptocurrency was reacting, Tesla stock was reacting, and you would think that he would at least come out on his own account and just clear the air in a Twitter
Not on his
post.
own account. You mean as a separate tweet, you're saying?
Yeah.
Because he was on his own account.
He was on, I meant just like on his actual Twitter, feed, say something, be like, listen, just to clarify, instead of just going in and randomly commenting on somebody else's posts.
Yeah. I don't get that.
3 a.m.
Yeah, I don't get that because that's not how Twitter works. Like, I think, like, I would be that way. If I would see something that I see response, like, I'd probably be that way. I wouldn't think to go out of he's not a, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think there's, like, I don't think one should have to worry about should I respond this way or that way. Like, it's not his problem that Bitcoin moves a certain way. Like, he's a very long-term time horizon person, right?
Correct. I just think, though, if I'm the CEO of, a company on the S&P 500 and I realized that I might have caused a little bit of a shitstorm, that I probably would do a little bit of a better job at clarifying and making everybody aware of the fact that Tesla hasn't sold Bitcoin. Because like, if you alluded to the fact that perhaps you did without putting out the proper filings, then you could potentially be getting yourself in trouble with the SEC. Obviously, the board of directors, at least up to this point, hasn't reacted. So maybe it's just a big nothing burger.
Yeah.
But it definitely has caused a little bit of a shitstorm over the last 24 hours. Well, really over the last week.
So you would have been fine if you would have replied to this person, but then also made a public statement.
Or maybe he retweeted and quoted that tweet and to reply to it.
Yeah.
Because, like, the only way you're seeing that is if you have his notifications on.
I think the market will eventually adjust to how he is rather than him adjusting to what the market
that's
does.
definitely going to happen.
Like, it's just going to get to a point where you're like, I don't know why it hasn't happened already, but it's like, bro, this is what he does.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that came out of COVID was we talked about Chamath and Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Dave Portnoy is worse than Elon Musk.
Oh, yes.
And it's a different position, but he owns
He's not
a company.
the CEO of Penn.
Yeah, he owns a company, and
Yeah.
he's very much on the hook for anything he says because he's a large shareholder. And so he says worse shit. And so he just gets a pass, not because he's not the CEO. He gets the pass because he owns Barstool Sports, and they expect like that stuff from him.
Well, and that's why he put other people in as CEO instead of himself, because he knows that he's like that.
Yeah,
Like, he's not the CEO anymore. He's a board member, and
that's true.
That's about as far as
That's true.
And he even fully admitted that that's why he hired Eric as a CEO, because he's like, I can't be the CEO.
Yeah, but he's still on the hook.
Yeah.
So, like, he can't operate because he's not the CEO doesn't mean he can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
And so Penn knows that. They've talked about that. Jay said, listen, again, the bad outweighs the good, but
The good outweighs the bad.
Sorry, the good outweighs the bad. But Penn stock has gotten hurt for the things that he says.
Yeah.
It's also benefited. So that's where they're understanding it. And look at Rocket. This is the last point I'll make. Rocket CEO said this, and I believe that most companies, most CEOs on the S&P 500 feel the same way. They could give two shits about what happens from day to day with this stock, month to month, and really quarter to quarter. They don't care. They don't care about you, swing trader, who's trying to make a quick buck.
Right.
They don't care because to them, they're like, that's not who we even want. We want shareholders who are putting this in their long-term investment accounts, and those are the people that we want to satisfy.
Yeah.
And honestly, the largest shareholders are pretty much the ones that move the needle as well as the board. So
Yeah, absolutely.
just stay tuned for the next thing that Elon will say probably overnight.
We'll be sure to make a title out of it for sure. I do appreciate Elon for allowing us for giving us something to talk about.
I love it. I love it. I want more of it. And I hope we never try to censor CEOs. Like that's why I was saying the SEC needs to to accommodate, because we need a culture where you can say whatever you feel, right? Like say what you're thinking, because that's I feel like that's sort of the issue. This is where the lack of trust comes in, or the distrust.
Yeah.
In public figures, is they always are so calculated with what they say. And that's also why people love Elon. As much as the stock moves, overwhelmingly people love Elon and trust Elon because he'll shoot you straight.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the CEO of the next generation is not one that's going to give you the response they think you should hear. They're going to give it to you real, because you just can't hide. You just can't sugarcoat things anymore.
Well, that's why people love Dave too.
Yeah,
because
name them Dave, Chamath, Elon. They're all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
like they're just like, they curse just like us. They call bullshit just like us.
One of the guys or girls. I mean, not that Kathy Wood is like kind of belligerent or so matter of fact, but in her own way, she is like, she's not belligerent, but like in her own way, she just calls it how it is.
Yeah.
And if you like it, cool. If not, then I'm just going to keep doing my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect that. So I think there's going to be more and more of that, and like Steve Jobs was probably ahead of the time in general. Like he said things that people didn't want to hear, but ultimately, like he was right. Yeah.
Where did you get Ethereum at? Did you say 3,300?
Just over 3,300.
Oh well, it's
like 33.
You're already doing pretty good. You're already doing pretty good. It's up 33.91 right now. Bitcoin trying to come back here as well. It's up 3% after it was down. It was like 41K.
My average cost on Bitcoin was like 720, so it was a little tough to buy that. Buy more of it.
700? Oh no, Ethereum. You mean?
Sorry, Ethereum.
720.
Shit, Bitcoin is 720.
I was gonna say, damn, bro. Why did you say something?
I wouldn't be sitting here.
I actually feel like you would be sitting here, regardless.
I would.
So yeah, Bitcoin. This actually looks pretty bullish. Honestly, the pattern here on Bitcoin is starting to look kind of bullish here. And this is on the 5-minute chart, just in case you guys are wondering. But hell of a bounce. It was at 42.106 was the low of the day.
It looked like GNOG had earnings today. Is that true? GNOG beat record first quarter revenue, up 54%. Year over year, upgraded guidance. Shout out Rudy Brown. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks, Rudy. Let's take a look.
Put that in there.
It is not pretty non-reactionary. It looks like after hours. It's still kind of flat. There's another one, Ideonomics. I don't know. I don't know if anybody actually had any interest in that, but they had earnings after hours today either. If you guys want to shout that out, feel free to do so. But I think the big hitters are going to be tomorrow morning, Walmart, Home Depot. I don't know what's after hours tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll be discussing that as well. We'll go ahead and I guess that'll be the preview for tomorrow. If you guys want to come hang out, we'll give some earnings reactions to the Walmart, Home Depots, and of course anything else that goes on throughout the day.
I want to close this out on a prediction that I'm going to ask you to make.
Okay.
Just for fun, just for shits and giggles.
Yes. What you got?
If this happens, when will Clover be above $10?
If what happens?
You may say, I don't think it'll ever be above $10. If you think it'll be above $10 at some point in your life, when would that be?
Okay, so
this is like a total guess. We're not, guys. This isn't serious. This is a total.
You want an exact date?
No. Like a month and a year.
Okay.
Or if it's more than a year, like.
No, I'm saying Clover can be over 10 by July.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So how confident do you feel that it'll be over 10 by the end of the year?
Very confident. I think that the reaction that we're seeing today is an overreaction.
Okay. Yeah, the squeeze is the issue. If the squeeze is on, 10 is nothing. 10's
100%.
butter.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope to God it's July.
I would love it for it to be July. I mean, I think that honestly, I got it at 664. I think that is pretty darn close to the bottom that we see out of Clover.
I think moving forward, for you guys that saw the short that I put up about Clover, maybe moving forward, I did a self-imposed clown meme on myself. Effect on myself.
It was so good. You did such a good job at that.
And so, listen, I'll take it. I dish it. I have to be able to take it.
Yeah.
So I did it myself. I didn't lose a bet. I felt it was necessary for me to use a clown meme until Clover gets above 10. Anytime I do a short on Clover, I'm probably gonna have to do the clown meme.
The podium's the best.
Yeah, the podium. I love the podium.
Public service announcement.
No comment. All right.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. And we've been getting a lot of love about these daily live streams. So keep that coming. Make sure you're putting in the comments how you feeling about them, what you want to see more of as we continue to evolve this channel and kind of do this. I'm loving the daily live streams. I know that Fat Man Zoom is too, but we also want to make sure that you do as well. So make sure you hit that thumbs up just to kind of show us some support as well. And consider checking out the Chaos Crew. You guys want access to our Discord group. You want more of Own the Chaos. Make sure you hit join next to subscribe. We would love to have you guys there. It's for $4.99 a month. It helps support the studio that we're in, helps support the channel, all of that good stuff. So certainly would appreciate you guys joining the Chaos Crew. And Fat Man Zoom, anything else from you, my friend?
Long live the Queen.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Peace.
Bye.
Peace out.
Could this be?